The morning after the night before, Tunde, what happened last night?
Yeah, we played a game of football. We lost a game of football. We lost to a six-minute set piece disaster, which didn't look good. And we tried to get ourselves back in again, but we were playing against a well-drilled side. So obviously we lost. That's what happened.
Yeah, well-drilled sides. So, I mean, if I'm going to pick up on that, Jamal Belmadi took over, I think just way after Gennett Rowe took over, and we had beaten the Algeria team before Belmadi took over. So, which begs the question, if they're a well-drilled side, why aren't we?
Let's not forget, not making excuses here, and it's not my place to say, but let's not forget that we also have a well-drilled side and a team philosophy within us, which has also been depleted by the fact that we have lost quite a few members of the side that we were drilling over the years. A lot more than Belmadi lost in the transition that he had. Number one, to start with, for this game in particular, we lost this main spine of the team, the spine in the midfield. It looked like if they were taking turns in going out, with Aribo out, Ndidi out, and then Ekebo out. And then we ended up here with none of our established three midfield players that we probably would have relied upon. Then we couldn't have our main striker, Victor Osimhen. We didn't have our main goalkeepers. None of the three goalkeepers that we used in the last AFCON were there. Okay, Maduka came in and he stepped up and he was fantastic. He was brilliant. But the reality is that we lost them once. Now, in that time, the time that you talked about when George Lakens was there and when Belmadi took over, we also had issues of our players, some of our mainstay players also opting out of the international scene. We didn't have Victor Moses anymore. We don't have John Obi Mikel anymore. We don't have Odioni Gallo anymore. People like Onazi are no longer with us. So we are filling those positions at the same time as carrying on the philosophy that we started. So I know it all sounds like excuses, especially when you don't get the results that you want, but the reality is that we're drilled, we know a philosophy that we want to play to, and unfortunately it didn't come together, and that's why such gaping things were exposed yesterday. If we had won the game, people would have thought that, yeah, we got it right, but there is work to be done. There's always work to be done, and we are aware of it, and we're conscious of it.
Great. Speaking of philosophy, if you were to describe it, what would you say is the Super Eagles philosophy right now under Gennett Rowe?
The philosophy that Gennett Rowe preaches is free-flowing football, minimal touches, let it flow, let it go, passing football, making use of our wings as much as is possible, which is our strength. A strong defensive philosophy, a strong, united, harmonious relationship within the team so that there's no big spaces between the defense and the attack. We all have to be compact. We all have to move as a block. We all have to work for each other. Gone are the days when a striker stays up there and says, well, okay, let them do their stuff at the back there. When they're ready, they give me the pass and I'll go score. Everybody has to be involved. That's the philosophy that he's preaching. It takes a while for it to get together, to come together. It doesn't come together all the time, but that's what he believes in.
Okay, all right, that works. I know there are those who would argue with that, but it's not my place. I won't. Well, it is my place, but like I said, we have a lot to get to. So because there are those who would say they haven't quite seen it, the team is not playing free-flowing football, but that's beside the point. What I'm going to ask is, what lessons did you and the coach take from last night's game?
Well, I mean, I'll leave the detail and the particular specific detail to the coach to deal with and to handle when he speaks to people. And it's not my place to say, but I know all I can say to you here is that we learned some lessons from the game. We saw, let's say we saw what puts what the distinction, the line, the balance between a good talented team, a team of talented footballers, and a winning talented team. So there's a cutting edge. There's a cutting edge between these things. And we're getting there. We're getting there. It's all in the mindset. It's all in the mind. And we're working towards it. We've learned a lot from yesterday's game. It was good that it was played. Commend everybody that worked together to put it together for us. And it has given us a chance to learn a little bit more about what we're doing, how we're doing in that, and what we should be doing.
Oh, great. Let's talk about the debutants. We saw a number of them start yesterday. They probably wouldn't have started if the other guys were in. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy were you guys with the guys who started yesterday? At least in the new boys.
I won't say about us guys because, like I said, it's down to the head coach to say about that. But on a general level, I think if you ask me, as Tunde, my person, I'm happy 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 with the debutants, with the fact that we were able to give debuts to players. I'm not saying that I'm happy with them 100% with how they performed, but I'm happy with them 100% that we were able to put them on the pitch to show what they could do. And that's good enough for me because you see, you need to be able to justify things going forward. If there are some that remain in the team, it's because we have been privileged to see them in match situation as well as training. If there are some that don't make it anymore after this, same thing. It's because we have been privileged to see them in the training session and we've seen them in match situations. So that's fine by me. The fact that we have got the opportunity to actually offer debuts to players with minimal pressure. It's not a qualifier, it's not a tournament, it's a friendly game, it's a test, and we're able to put them out there. It's satisfaction for me.
Okay. Yep, great. I mean, I know there are tons of folks who were not happy with that game yesterday in terms of I've read a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things about how the team was not cohesive, how the passing was not good, the movement, and so, everything. I mean, it runs the gamut. I'm sure you know that. But if there was something you could change from that game last night, what would it be?
A better start, a bit more fluidity, a bit more free, a bit more sharpness and crispier passing, precise, not floundering, a bit more of all of that, which I tell you what, very hard to say, but it's difficult to put all that into a player or into a group of players in 3, 4, 5 training sessions. The first thing that we can do is to tell them what we want them to do. The next thing that we do, of course, is to hope that they get it and that it comes together during the game. If you go by the training sessions that we had and we're talking about, X scored 5 goals, 10, this one had good defensive headers and all that, then we'll be winning the game before even turning up, won't we? But the truth of the matter is that it's one thing to do it there. It's another to be able to do it in match situations. It didn't happen last night, doesn't mean it won't happen going forward. But everybody has a lesson to learn from what happened yesterday. And that is what we want to embed inside them, to take back. It's easy. I mean, you say you've read a lot. I've read a lot. I've read a lot overnight, over what people are saying. And rightfully so. Nigerians are entitled to want to win at all times. I hate losing. I don't like losing at all. And I think I was the most sober in my group, after the game. I couldn't even bring myself to liven up. I'm not one of those ones who say, okay, that one's gone, let's go for the next one. This one is still lingering. So don't like losing, but the truth of the matter is We have to learn from it. We have to ask ourselves one by one what we're not doing right, and then go for it the next time, so that this friendly game will be seen as what it was actually intended to be, which is a test for us for bigger things coming forward.
Okay, fair enough. Let's just, you like my background, do you?
It's great. It looks like you're in Galaxy.
Yeah, well, yeah, Star Wars, Star Trek kind of thing. So,
Really?
Anyway, let's just circle back a little bit. Yeah, yours is horrible.
Thanks.
As horrible as the game yesterday.
I mean, I can only thank you further.
Anyway, let's circle back a little bit to you. I hear there have been, some goings on and so on and so forth about, your job description. I've heard people say a lot of things. How did you come about, being chief head scout of the Super Eagles for Gannett Raw?
People have been talking. It's been 4 years now, Colin. That's
what I don't get. It's not like you just sneaked up there like yesterday.
People are talking, and it's interesting and it's sad.
It's tiresome. You don't want to use the word, but it's tiresome.
It's interesting, true, and it's quite unfortunate. But people are talking. How did I come about it? The Gannett Rock comes into the country. I think I've said this so many times, don't know whether on this platform, comes into the country, tells the president of the Nigeria Football Federation that, listen, I want Tunde with me as my scout. He knows players, he's got the badge, so can he not do it? And the president, because it is part of his contract, I'm not employed by the Nigeria Football Federation.
Just to step in there, I mean, because a lot of people don't know that you do have your UEFA badges.
I do have my badges. Yes, I do have my coaching badges. I did my FA levels 1 and 2 with Chelsea Football Club. So I have my badges. I have a coaching badge. I also have the International Professional Scouts badges and talent identification with the League Managers Association. I did all of that, building myself, developed. I did not expect to be in this role. I didn't come in to be in this role. The president of the Nigeria Football Federation is a personal acquaintance of mine. Get me a coach, he said. I got him Gannett. Gannett said, please come and work with me. Work with me because you have got the knowledge and you've got the certification. What do I do? Say no, it's still my country, isn't it?
And you're not being paid by the federation. You are being paid by Gannett.
I'm not being paid by the federation. I'm not on the payroll of the Football Federation. I'm not the NFF chief scout. That job is there for anybody who wants it. And the chief scout appointed by Gannett Raw to be the head scout of his own team, in charge of scouting for him and for the team, which is what I have done for the past 4 years. So it's not like if I bamboozled my way into it, didn't ask for it. And I can tell you that, I'll swear to an oath that I did not even ask for it. I didn't expect it. But then again, contrary to what many people feel, I'm still a Nigerian, and I'm still a very, very keen and passionate Nigerian. And I love the country, and I love our football. So why would I not come and work in Nigeria? Why would I think about what people would say and decide on not working? I've read comments. I've read a lot of things. People have talked about he's a hustler. Who doesn't hustle? Who has actually woken up in the morning and decided that, you know what, it's all going to come to me at home. I'm not going to hustle. I'm not hustling outside my comfort zone. I am a football person through and through. It is my industry. It is my life. So I'm not going into things that I shouldn't have gone into. I get that. I read things because sometimes, like I say, it's tiresome and it needs to be said. I read things about Tunde organized the coaching courses for unknown coaches who went to on a trip that the FA did not accredit. Never did I say that it was an FA accredited tour. It was a visit to England by the late Amadou Shuaibu, by J.J. Okocha, by Ladam Boso, by Paul Aibogun, by Florence Somagbemi. These are people that our countrymen are calling unknown people. It wasn't an accredited coaching course. It was a visit to come and see how things were done in England.
Which makes sense.
Never did I ever say that it was going to be accredited and everybody is going to come back with a coaching badge from the Football Association. I don't have such powers. But what gets me, and this will be my final line on it, is why people sit down and decide to pull their fellow person out. We talk about Black Lives Matter, but why don't Nigerian lives matter to us Nigerians? Why do we always have to pull that one down because it's not them? I'm not doing anything negative.
Exactly. And I think we just need to draw a line on this. People need to understand that there really isn't any benefit to all of this. You've got your badges, you're doing a good job. You got the job the right way. The man asked for you, and the federation said, "Come do it." So I'm not sure where the problem is, to be honest. And it beats me, honestly. I mean, we've gone through. You and I have gone through this over and over and over again, and it looks like it's not the first time, and it probably will not be the last time.
Broken record.
Well, yeah, exactly. And just to talk about two things. The first one is that game was going on yesterday, and we had the End SARS protest in Nigeria, to talk about, which was in reaction to police brutality in the country. I think at some point there were people who expected some sort of, message from the players or action, on the field from the players. We saw, I think Leon Balogun posted something about it on Twitter, and a few others. John Ogu did the same thing. Even our UFC champion, Israel Adesanya, and Kamaru Usman also did the same thing. So the question here is, was it that the players did not want to do it, or they didn't hear about it on time, or it was just something that never came up?
It just never came up. I mean, everybody has their own opinion about what's going on, and we're unified in the belief that police brutality to ourselves shouldn't really have a place. It shouldn't really be discussed in society at all, not to talk about us having to register protests. We are in the 21st century. We are trying to look after ourselves in the same country, and we're beating ourselves up and killing ourselves. Of course, it's not acceptable. But unfortunately, it didn't come out at the right time, in time for us to be able to make a unified front towards it. But it doesn't mean that we don't feel it as well. And I think that over time, with the support and the guidance of the Nigeria Football Federation and the Ministry of Sport and that, I think people will make a stand that will be official in the same way as we did for the coronavirus and for the staying safe and all that, because it is a topical issue and it is a major one as well.
Okay. And just a quick shuffle back to the game. And how was the bus ride back to the hotel? And also, how are the players feeling after that? I mean, second loss to Algeria, and just how's your reaction to it?
Well, bus rides are always quiet when you're going back. Obviously, there's not a lot.
As to when they're going in and singing and dancing and then coming back.
Head hanging, kind of like, reflective. Everybody was reflective. What could we have done right? What could we have done wrong? I am a great philosopher. I'm a great believer, I should say, in the philosophy of you move forward. You move forward immediately. You look forward, you think forward, and don't look back. The only thing you want to see when you look back is how bad it was, so that you can know what to do when you go forward. But you don't want to spend too much time dwelling on it, because if you dwell on it, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the result. What can change is not what happened in the past. What can change is what will happen in the future. If we take adequate notice, cognizance of what has happened in the past and use it to guide our future. So bus ride was quiet. Gernot Roy is a veteran of this game. He has seen it all. He took it very well. It's philosophical. We learned from it. We've got to learn from it even further, and it's going to get better. We believe. The important thing is we believe. We believe in the ability of ourselves on the crew. We believe in the talent that Nigeria has got, and we believe in the people behind us supporting us, that they will continue to give us that support. And if we have them three, then I think it'd be a travesty if at the end of 2 years we don't get to where we want to be.
Very good point. So I think on that note, it might be a good idea to let you go. What is the team doing today? I know there shouldn't be. It's a day after the game. There shouldn't be too much of just a warm down and regeneration exercises.
We already had a warm down exercise in the morning. No rest for the wicked. We woke up early. We had to go down and do a bit of.
No rest for the losers.
Yeah. I tell you what, we're not losers.
Okay.
We're winners who stumbled.
Okay.
We're winners that stumbled. That's my expression. We're not
I'll take that.
We'll never be losers. Nigeria don't lose. We could stumble, but we'll bounce back. So we had that, and we're going to have a video session later on to analyze what happened in the game and see what we could have done better, so that at least it helps. We had 8 new players who had never been in this group before join the group now in this camp. They need to understand how we work. They've seen how we've worked training. They've seen how we worked pre-game. They've seen how we worked in the game. Now is the time to see how we work after the game. Mm-hmm. So it's a learning process for them, and the remaining players are there to help them integrate and show them that, they can also relate with the kind of things that we're doing going forward. So that's what we're going to do today, and then it's back to the battleground tomorrow with, strong training and that.
Okay, great. I hope I'll see you on the pitch as well, so they can give you a bit of a bruising on your ankle.
I hope not. Not going to happen.
Anyway, thanks a lot.
It's not enough being where I am. I'm being battered. You can imagine me being on the field.
I'm getting it double.
Nah, that's why I stay back. That's why I keep my distance. I'm not here to take anybody's position. I'm here to do what is asked of me by Genatro. And I've told him that I'd rather be in the background.
Mm-hmm. All right. I wonder how he feels about. I mean, I know he probably put a straight face with the players, but I wonder personally how he feels about not just the result, but just generally the way the team played, because he was talking about wanting to play more together, make more passes, and that just didn't seem to come off.
It didn't, and I'm sure, knowing him, I know how he will be feeling. I won't share it with you here. I know how.
You should actually. You should tell me. Don't worry. Nobody else is going to hear. Just tell me.
No, exactly. It's a big secret here. So a big secret here. But no, obviously, nobody. He's German. I'm Nigerian. We don't like losing. Germans don't like losing. So you can imagine what his reactions will be. But I'm sure he'll be fine, because he needs to be. He needs to be finer than me, so that he can actually lead us and show that, the battle might have been lost, but there is a big war that can be won.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Tunde. I'll not take any more of your time. It's been very great and enlightening talking to you. And I hope that when we have this conversation, the next time, the next post-game conversation, it'll be after we beat Tunisia. Although I think we should have one more before that, maybe a kind of preview into the game before we get into the game proper.
We'll see how that goes.
All right. Thank you very much, mate. It's been a pleasure.